Okay, that's all I need to know. You know, I won't.
Welcome this evening. Rise and join me in a moment of silence. And keep in mind, if you're so inclined this evening, Bishop O'Neill, who had some surgery this week and is in the process of recovery. Thank you. Somebody over there want to start us off with the Pledge of Allegiance tonight?
I think.
Okay.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please be seated. I am present. Bishop O'Neill, as we noted, is out. Mr. Heater.
Present.
Dr. Bales. Mrs. Barnes-Griffin.
Present.
Mr. Irvin.
Present.
And Mr. Lowe is out of town. So welcome all this evening to our board meeting. At this time, Northside Middle School is up and ready to go.
Thank you very much. My name is Ben Williams, the proud new principal at Northside Middle School. I'm a Ball State grad.
Yay.
And I want to say that I brought my lovely wife here as well. And she's a proud Ball State grad, and she graduated from the College of Architecture and Planning. She's second in her class.
Okay.
So she is the true brains behind the operation. So with that being said, thank you again. I appreciate the opportunity to lead Northside, and I'm so excited to be back in the Munson community. I did teach at Sutton for 3 years. Joe Stokes took a chance on me in the year 2000, and I worked with Dia as well at Sutton. So with that being said, I'm excited to present to you Northside Middle School. We have a phrase that this was started by Mr. Grimm: Titans are a team, Titans take responsibility. We strive to exhibit kindness, Titans are prepared, Titans make good choices. It's been great educating the students on the Titan way. And I will say that you have amazing people that work at Northside. I haven't even been there, for a quarter, and I started in June since I was approved by the board. And what an amazing group of people! And again, people make the difference. I firmly believe that the potential within the organization rests in the power of its people, and unlocking the potential of our staff will empower our students to achieve more. And it's our objective as a leadership team to bring out the best in the adults and the students that we interact with. Every individual matters. Every individual has a role to play. Every individual makes a difference. And so we have some amazing members of the Titan family. 42 licensed teachers, 7 instructional assistants, 3 mentor teachers, 2 master teachers, 2 school counselors, a family navigator, 2 assistant principals, 3 administrative assistants, and of course, the Meridian support that we have, 2 wonderful school safety officers that are doing incredible work there. And our teachers flat out tell me a lot. They love what they're doing here. So again, we're very thankful for what Legacy Life is bringing to Northside Middle School. We have an amazing athletic director and student assistance coordinator, Tara. We have so many special ed experts that work district-wide, but also work within our building as well. And of course, part of our family too is Chartwell's at SSC, and of course Auxilio. We have approximately 600 students, and it is a family, and it's certainly important for us to create a culture of family and to guard that culture of family as well. So I will say that before I arrived at Northside Middle School, I was a principal at another middle school just down the road in Hancock County, and I got to tell you, Northside Middle School is different than other middle schools, and that is exciting because Northside is different in so many positive ways than the typical middle school. And I'm a middle school guy. I got to tell you, I love those 6th and 7th and 8th graders. I do. Dia's laughing at me right now. But I'm telling you, they're amazing to work with. And I realize it's an amazing transition students from the elementary and trying to get them prepared for high school. And those can be awkward years, but those also can be very formative years. Northside is different because, wow, I wish I would have had these resources at my previous school. We have master mentor teachers at Northside. 2 master teachers, Lord Church, John Norris, that are dedicated to helping teachers get better at their craft. And they also spend a lot of time helping students in need. The Ball State Professional Development Liaisons, helping our teachers, specifically in math and in ELA, in curriculum, with vertical articulation, curriculum mapping, and of course, just producing great lessons day in and day out. What an amazing resource to have those PD liaisons, helping teachers regularly. And of course, it's exciting to see so many practical students from Ball State in the building. We have a specific classroom dedicated for Ball State students to come in and to learn the craft of teaching, which is, to me, extremely exciting because, again, we need to continue to replenish the educational field. What we're doing today to build our field so that other educators can come into the educational field and work. We have the wonderful Family Navigator initiative with City Connects. I did a few home visits a few weeks ago with Family Navigator, Lindsay Mecklenburg, and we hired a true winner there. And she is helping out so many different families and connecting kids and parents with resources needed to be successful. One of my favorite things as well about Northside is the diversity. And it's exciting to have so many students that are from Afghanistan that are learning in our school. It's great. And then having some of our Ukrainian students in there as well. And plus we have adult English learner classes. So every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we have adults who are from Afghanistan learning English in our classroom. So what an amazing, diverse population, and what an incredible snapshot of America is Northside Middle School. Of course, we have many exciting PLTW programs. Titan TV is one of the best resources that principal could ever ask for. And I just love creating videos with the Titan TV studio staff. I know that Mr. Prim is, he wished he had some of those resources there last year, because I'm telling you, Isaac Denniston and the ability to work with students on creating news programs or special videos to help educate students on whether it's about setting up good habits as a student to what we love about Northside. I really want to strongly encourage you to check out YouTube. Use the keyword search Titan TV or Northside Titan TV. You'll see so many amazing videos created by students, edited by students, that really are helpful in impacting student culture and student life at Northside. And again, the vast resource network of Ball State is just, wow, there's a plethora of so many different capabilities that we have that I didn't have at my previous school. So with that being said, I want you to know that Northside is a special place. And because of a lot of those things that you see on that screen there, it makes it so much different than other middle schools in such a positive and profound way. So with that being said, we have a Challenge 3 initiative, and this is basically my initiative to students, encouraging every type of students to participate in at least 3 extracurricular activities throughout the school year. We know that research shows that students who are involved in extracurriculars, in general, achieve more in the classroom, and are generally happier, healthier kids, both mentally and physically. I want to list out to you some of the sports that we have. All those athletic sports, as well as esports as well, which I know Ball State has a thriving esports program as well for college students. We offer so many different clubs as well. For band choir, obviously that's a part of extracurricular activities due to just the out school or after school commitments there. And we have so many different clubs to try to get kids involved. Not every kid's an athlete, but we try to find in every way how to get kids involved after school. Because we know that they can develop a better friend network if they're involved. They can develop better study habits if they're involved because it helps them organize their time. There are so many advantages for kids being involved in school. And we have other ECAs as well. Plus, Ball State's opportunity to come in and use our auditorium twice a year to put on really professional productions with our middle school students. And we're excited about our first one coming up in November. Our focus this year, when I hit the ground running in June, I surveyed the staff on what are the things that you love about Northside and then what are the things that we need to focus on to improve Northside, to take Northside to the next level. And our focus this year is to enhance student engagement, maximize instructional time, and of course, maximize positive behavior incentive strategies, add to our educational best practices toolbox. We want to celebrate our tight staff, and also we want to invite the community in as well. We want parents to know that they are welcome at our school, and we're going to have different events as well that promote and strengthen caring partnerships as well as community partnerships. So what's on the horizon this year? We have incentive field trips coming up quarterly. We tell students that they got it in the bag, which basically means BAG. They need to do 3 things: good behavior, good attendance. Doesn't have to be perfect attendance, and good grades. They qualify for incentive field trips every quarter. I'm a musician myself, so we're going to put on a few concerts. I did this at my previous school. We were on TV a couple times. Putting on a Black History concert in February and then a concert for Unity. We'll be implementing as well a Veterans Day ceremony, which I want you to know you are more than welcome to attend. Please come. Please show your support. You're always welcome on the Northside, whether it's an event or just you want to come in to the building, you're absolutely more than welcome. What else is in store? Promoting 21st century scholars and holding events. What an incredible opportunity that is for our students. And it's our objective, our counselors work very hard to get every 7th and 8th grader to apply. It's astounding how many kids actually are able to qualify, particularly in Muncie. We got more cool type TV videos coming up, more engaging and transformative professional development for our staff. And of course, I know we've been in talks with Dr. K about it. Hopefully looking at how we can renovate, to whatever extent, Northside's gymnasium. So again, our goal, we want to improve student engagement and achievement, empower students towards the positive, increase student attendance as well. We've been tracking that and monitor that, and of course strengthen school-wide safety and morale. And I tell our staff, any of the students, anyone can make a goal. So we're not just trying to make goals to write down on the PowerPoint. We want to make commitments. And we know that the secret to success is consistent daily effort. I got a poster in my room that says "Win today." We may not be able to solve all the problems right now, but what are we doing today to win today? I appreciate everyone's work because I know you guys are doing incredible work here in Muncie. And I appreciate that so much. And thank you for your support. So with that being said, do you have any questions for me concerning Northside?
Any questions for Mr. Williams?
You take this energy into the building every day. I
Yes,
love
I
it.
do.
I love that. I love it. Oh.
So anything for Mr. Williams? I have a couple.
Yes, sir.
My notes here. Push-up club. What's the push-up club?
Push-up club. It's something we haven't implemented yet. It's a club that I implemented at my previous school. Pretty simple club where students, before they go to lunch, they meet me in the gym or in a large enough area. And we do roughly about 100 push-ups. And what I love about it is you don't have to sign up. It's very interactive and it's fun. And of course, the brain research on being physically active, it really helps. And I look at it as a brain break for our kids. And yeah, admittedly, it helps me stay in shape too.
So do you do those 100 all at once, or is that broken into 10 sets of 10?
I don't want to brag,
Okay,
but I do sets of 50. How about that?
that's pretty good.
Okay. But no, we start off pretty slow with a lot of kids. Usually if we get kids to do one good push-up, that's it. That's a win, right?
Yeah,
Especially middle school.
yeah. Awake mentors.
Yep.
That, I'm not too sure on all the logistics of Awake Mentors. I don't know if Mr. Graham can speak to that.
Awake.
Awake mentors, AWAKE.
That was a program that we had either last year or the year before, and I'm not sure that that's continuing.
So what does it do? Or what was it?
This
was
was
the-
prior, tried to bring in some guest speakers. COVID has impacted that a little bit, but that was the Mr. Prior and the Prior Foundation. We bring in some different guest speakers once a month, to talk to kids about different things.
Well, you gotta bring it back. You gotta work it. You got it on your PowerPoint.
So
It's in the minutes.
I've got a deal for you, Mr. Williams.
Yes, sir.
If you can, bring any Northside Middle School students who can come to a board meeting after the first of the year and can do 100 push-ups and say within 10 minutes, we will get them gift certificates for a 14-inch Pizza King pizza.
Ooh.
How's that?
Sounds great.
Or tickets to a Ball State basketball game. You pick.
I like the Ball State basketball
So
game.
say they're gonna eat the
Okay.
pizza.
So I appreciate the challenge.
Okay, so incentives for push-ups, I think that's interesting. Physical activities, critical.
We did a simple workout where we do, in our previous school, 10 push-ups every 30 seconds. So I think we get that done in less than 10 minutes.
Okay. Pickleball. I've had some questions from the community writ large about turning Northside Middle School tennis courts, or at least one of them, into a pickleball court. If you could, and I know somebody was working on getting me an estimate.
So we had Paul check into that. The problem is that the tennis court needs new, what's it called, Brad? New base.
New base, and then starts expanding. Leslie Coatings is our company that we normally work with when we talk about refinishing or refurbishing the tennis court track. So they would be our go-to company. Their recommendation was first get the base finished first. So we're working on trying to get a price.
Okay, give me a price.
And what I've been told is it's not going to be cheap, Jim.
I understand.
Okay.
I understand.
At my previous school, we had a tennis court renovation, and we added 6 pickleball courts there. The total cost was about $800,000. But I will say that the Mount Vernon community uses that, and what it does is those 6 pickleball courts, it's an opportunity to bring the community on the school grounds,
Right.
which obviously strengthens relationships again with the community and the schools. So, and I think, of course, the location of where Northside is, in its proximity to so many different houses, and of course, Ball State, it could be an excellent use. And I realize that comes with a price tag, but I thank you for your consideration of that.
No, I mean, I think obviously there's going to have to be some planning for the financing of it. But we'll cross that bridge. What do you need?
With that being said, certainly looking at renovating the main gym, I think would be a great start. My nickname for it is the salt box. It's very plain, and our HVAC unit, it's very hot. We attended an event there. I'll be frank, our students deserve better.
Okay.
And I think we don't have to have a Ferrari. We can maybe have a Chevrolet and some type of pride in there with some good signage. And at my previous school district as well, We were able to rent out facilities as well and brought income into the school corporation. I do realize that we have a pool that's been vacated for many years. I don't know if there's any thoughts on whether to keep it closed or to renovate the pool or to possibly look at how we can use that in other areas, whether it's a field house, a combination thereof. That's a hidden gem that's waiting there, as well as the north side. And there's other needs that we can talk about later as well. But again, what do I need? I thank you for your support, and I do. But give me the time needed to take Northside to the next level. And that's my main objective, is to increase student achievement, increase positive behaviors at the school, to maintain a great staff that has already developed great culture there.
Okay. Any additional questions for Mr. Williams?
Just really quick, that maximize positive behavior, those strategies, like what, for the focus, what is something that you all have planned
Sure.
to tackle that?
The incentive field trips are one, because students look at that as a day-long reward. Also, we have what we call Titan Bus as well, which is part of our KPIS system, which we have a Titan store. Teachers can give a student Titan Bus, particularly if they are exhibiting the Titan way, or Titans take responsibilities of the kindness, show that they're prepared to make good choices. They can earn the incentives out of the Titan store. We also have Titan coins as well, which again, that amps up other incentives as well. And really comes down to the philosophy of catching kids doing the right things. And because again, if all we're doing as educators is thinking kids do referral, they do something wrong, which they will at times, because they're no schools do this. What are we doing to reward kids for doing the right things and give them a reason why they understand that good character is going to help?
Thank you.
Well, I'd like to say every time I go to Northside, you can never find Mr. Williams. He has so much energy and he is out and about, and I try to chase him around that school, and he's just incredibly visible. Has created great relationships with students and teachers and families, and we just are so grateful that he's here in Muncie.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Student Advisory Group.
All right, hello. Sorry, we only have 4 of the 16. We have a huge group this year, but there were a couple events rescheduled for tonight, like a soccer match and some other stuff, so the kids couldn't make it, sorry. But we have 4 wonderful kids here, and so we're off to a really good start. I think Dr. K came to the meeting last week, and the kids ran it themselves, and I think they did a really good job. We have some really great kids on the board. So I'll let them introduce themselves, and then they'll tell you a little bit about what they want to do this year, okay?
Hey guys, it's good to see you again. I'm Logan Grady. I'm a senior at Muncie Central High School. I don't know if I have to do what I want to do in college thing again, but if that is an interest, I want to go in for music theory.
Okay.
I play baseball, second team all conference, not to brag. Yeah, this is my second year on student advisory board. We've done a lot of cool things. This mic is really low. We've done a lot of cool things, and I'm very proud of who we are as a group, and I feel like this year, especially with the tight group we have, we're going to get a lot done.
So my question before you move on, did anyone help you get dressed for this evening?
I will say yes to that.
The students were really making sure that he looked presentable when I was at their last meeting.
Well,
and so-
okay, so nobody told me Dr. K was coming, right? And so I just came in sweatpants and like a flannel that was like almost off. Sorry about that. And so like I was like, okay, I'm seeing Dr. K again today. I have to show up. I have to try. But yeah.
I'm Lily Arthur. This is my first year on the Student Advisory Board. I was really motivated to join based on the things that I've seen happen these last few years, and it's been a good experience overall so far, and I'm excited to see what's going to happen now.
I'm William Washburn. I'm a freshman now, so this is my first year at Central.
Wow.
And before you ask, I did go to Northside. No 100 push-ups yet.
I'm Sanaya Griffin, and I am a sophomore. This is my first year on the advisory board, and I could say I joined just to, let others just hear what I have to say about, Central and what I can do to make a difference in my school.
That's
I also just found out that I was speaking. So our objective for Student Advisory Board is to give the voice to the MCHS students, not just MCHS, but the Muncie Community School students. We want to give them a voice and express any possible and potential concerns that they may have that affects both us and their school. Students always deserve to be a part of our discussion, and I think everybody in this room can completely agree upon that. We all find that, especially nowadays, kids are becoming a lot more witty. They're becoming a lot more headstrong, and they have a lot more of a voice. And our whole point of our board is to keep that up.
Okay, so we have a lot more members this year, and their names are all up on the board. The ones that have not been able to make it here tonight are involved in extracurricular activities like soccer or things with volleyball and stuff like that. And so one of the main things that we've been talking about this year is that we would like to host a fall festival for everybody to come, not just high school students. But we have a lot of cool clubs at our school that nobody really knows about because they're not advertised enough. And the purpose of this event would be to advertise these clubs and say, hey, this is a good way to get involved with your school because we do need more involvement, and in sports too. A lot of our girls' sports do not have a lot of members or anything like that, and so this would be a good way to get more people involved and more people knowing about this information, and everybody would be able to come. So elementary school, middle school students, people walking by, like, it's a good way to get involved in our school and know what's going on.
So our topics of interest, what interests us? I just restated that. Now, what interests us is the fact that we need new water fountains. Half of them don't work, and that is a big concern. A lot of kids carry water bottles to school nowadays because a lot of kids, especially at Central, what I noticed are mostly athletes and kids that drink water throughout the day to maintain health. So the only water fountains that we really have that work are one in the lunchroom and one in the downstairs hallway. I recently just found out that there was one upstairs, but it's never worked. And it just got fixed this week. Cool, so we're already making progress on that. I know, we're good.
And I think if you look at another corner, you should find over the weekend, another one was installed over the weekend. And the hope is going to be to add one to each of the corners upstairs. And that will happen. They had to order them. I forget the timeline that they said. It won't be real soon, but it will be coming this school year.
I've told my son and daughter, who Leah's 28, Sam's 25, that they are the most hydrated generation I've ever seen. I walked around college campuses, high schools, did not drink on a regular basis, which would explain probably my lack of health now. But you
look
guys
great,
are
Williams. Don't worry
incredibly
about it.
hydrated, and I applaud that.
But we want to get our library up and running. If you've made a trip to MCHS, you've noticed that our library's been down. We used to use it for study hall, but because it was poorly supervised, it ended up going under the influence, I guess, of kids. And so we want to get our library up and running, get kids interested in reading again, because I will say that we don't read as much as we should. I completely see that. I'm one of those kids. Another thing that we want to do is introduce more recycling. We have a recycling club, and we're hoping that with this fall festival coming up that we will get more people interested in our recycling club, but we do want to have a bigger compost program and recycling system. Okay, hi.
If I may, one of the things that we're really focused on the recycling is that we have to take a fruit at lunch, and most kids don't eat it because either it's not good or they don't want to, and so it just gets thrown away. And that's one of the main things that we've been focusing on. We did talk to the people at Chartwell's. They said that after it's been touched, there's not really able to be reusing it, but we're looking for more options to figure it out.
Yeah, Stephanie is talking to some people about it because she thinks the policy's changed, so.
Okay, so when you say recycling, what are you intending to recycle?
Like papers that we use, if we use papers, like
Well,
in the,
cafeteria is what
yeah,
we've been really interested in, like the trays.
So at Central, for a long, long time, we've used, what was it, the brown trays? There's brown trays. Well, those trays are recyclable and they end up in the trash. And estimating just about how much we use, we have 3 different lunches. Every kid uses one of those, almost every single kid, because most kids don't pack lunch. So when you end up using all that, that creates a lot of waste that we just do not need at Central. And so when we're recycling, we want to get more invested into figuring out a better solution for trays such as that.
So are there any recycling receptacles in the high school at all right now?
In the classrooms, but that's about it. For paper and, whatever a kid has a soda.
So we're working with Chartwells on getting some receptacles for, the trays.
Yeah, we're trying to work with Jason Donati, and there's a compost program in Muncie.
Right.
But it's very small scale right now, like as far as he just brings a bucket. Well, we would need way more than a bucket to do. So Jason's gonna help us reach out to the guy in charge of that program to see if maybe he would be willing, if he could pick it up once a week or something like that and do whatever he does. We're just waiting to hear from him.
And then Paul from SSC said he needs to be in the loop with all of this too.
Okay.
To carry on with our presentation, we're going to try and implement a cat cave. For those of you who do not know what a cat cave is a mental health check almost. It's a place where you can go to feel safe and comfortable when you're stressing out, because let's face it, a lot of kids at Muncie Central are stressed out for one reason or another. The idea of the cat cave is to give kids a breather. We want kids to feel safe at school. I feel like that's everybody's concern. We want kids to feel refreshed when they leave, not only because of the minds that were expanded by the teachers, but by the work and material they were able to put out in the process. And we believe that a cat cave is a good solution for that, because it allows kids to, for a few, wind down, enjoy everything about life, and then continue on. We think that a cat cave is a good idea, mostly because I know from just my senior class alone, we do a lot. So from homecoming to setting up themes to keeping in touch with all of our AP work and all that, we need a place where we can just wind down for a few, take time to ourselves, talk to an adult if need be, or we haven't really touched much on that, but a licensed professional if need be. That was something we thought about. I know that was an idea.
We have the cat cave, right?
Yeah.
They heard that presentation before because Brooke Zelindy got the grant for that. Our problem now is just the implementation. It's in a really isolated room, no windows, no way there's no way we can use it where it is. So we've been talking to Mr. Walker about maybe finding a suitable place where there would be plenty of adults around to supervise, because right now there's just no way to use it.
And our last, and in my opinion, our biggest point for Student Advisory Board is getting students involved. That is my biggest thing at Central. We do not have enough kids involved. And I feel like a lot of times that falls on not just the students themselves, but the way that they were brought up. I feel like if we branch out, make more options for kids in the future, they'll want to join more things. They'll want to do more stuff. Like athletics, for example. We almost didn't have a baseball team 2 years ago because we couldn't get anybody to play. It took us going around asking and getting kids to come play. And another example could be our girls' sports. Women's sports is on an absolute decline at Muncie Central. We went from having arguably one of our best years in women's athletics last year, whether you're looking at basketball, soccer, et cetera, to one of our worst based on the amount of participants that aren't willing to play. And yeah, I understand that kids don't necessarily want to play sports, but for us and Student Advisory Board, we want to take it on to get students more involved. That's why this fall festival is so crucial for us. We want everybody to have a chance of a voice of what they can do at Muncie Central, because not only do we believe that there's so much untapped talent at Muncie Central from students and teachers, we believe that they deserve a chance at that too.
So what are the dates of the fall festival?
The date for our fall festival should be, I believe, October 29th.
Trying to get our flyer out within the next week, so we'll share that.
Okay. Okay. And what's the location?
So right now we are in between Central itself and the field house. The field house parking lot. Would we be doing inside and outside or just?
We've got the field house safe in case it rains. But we'd like to do it outside so we can have kind of a truck or treat feel
Mm-hmm.
to it.
So I don't know if you guys ever went to Westview Elementary or attended that during when they had their fall festival, but do you guys remember what that was like? There was always those little fun games and stuff like that. That's kind of what we're trying to do at Central, but for promotion of our clubs. Because what's a way to get kids involved than having a free way to enjoy what the club has to offer?
What's your budget for a year?
We're gonna.
We're trying to get everything donated.
We're gonna. I know. Ideally, we're gonna try and do, I think, a couple fundraisers for it coming up, and as well as we don't have a budget. We're spitballing this, which I get. It's kind of a bold move. I understand that, but I feel like we have the right amount of people and the right amount of vested teachers. I've talked to about 20 teachers that are already ready to go.
I think the clubs, they're willing to like buy their own candy and,
Mm-hmm.
and do that, buy their own prizes, and then we've got somebody on the board who can get games
And not only do I think that everybody pitching in something from Muncie Central is a good idea, I think it brings us closer together as a school, as people. For once, like, this is one of the few times that I've seen Central together, ready to go for a program.
So is there any centralized spot where all of the clubs and activities are laid out?
Nope.
I mean, open house, they try to, but not
It never works out. That's why I think like a fall festival is a good idea, because this would be a centralized area for clubs and programs such as choir, band, and athletics.
So how many clubs right now does Central have that are viable?
I think we have reliable clubs,
That are actually thriving?
Viable, thriving, alive, working.
like working clubs. I could say about 7. I think 7, which I feel like is really low.
And what are those?
Let's see. We have D&D club. We have drama club.
What's D&D?
D&D, Dungeons and Dragons.
Okay.
That nerdy game that most of you guys played in the 80s. There's Philosophy Club. Adam Cunningham used to run that. It's not ran by him anymore. And then there's Recycling Club. Recycling Club is kind of like the whole point of the recycling. And then besides those 4 main clubs that are the ones that get promoted, I guess not 7. I guess those are the only ones that really thrive at Central. And that's my point. The point is that we need our other clubs to be known, because there's a bocce ball club at Central. Nobody knew about that. I didn't know about that. There's a bunch of other clubs that just go under the radar completely.
So what club are you interested in?
Well, me personally, as guessing by the fact that I love music, I'm in choir, and I was also in the drama club. I was in the drama club from freshman year till this year. Plan to rejoin back second semester because, that's baseball season, and I'd love to tough that out again. But I'm really interested in musicals, so that's what I normally did. So drama club is my big concern and my priority. But not only that, because of with this October Fall Festival, we believe that the baseball teams, which is what I play, and the other teams will get their say in something like that. Like, we got a new coach for the baseball team. His name's Jason Kubik. Jason Kubik is one of the greatest coaches, not just for swim, but for baseball. And he's one of the most involved people that I know in Muncie Community Schools, from helping announce games at Central to teaching kids in PE at Westview to coming back here and opening the field just so a couple of us guys can throw around a ball. I feel like guys like that and most of the other people that work at Central deserve a voice for that.
So what are the other 3 of you? What clubs would you guys be interested in? William?
Me personally, I just like philosophy club and all that stuff. Like a lot of people don't know. Like there's even classes like biblical literature. I don't know how many people even know about that class. Did you guys know about that class?
Is that a class or a club?
It's a class, but like just the fact that no one knew about a class is kind of insane. And so, like, if we can get clubs, like, I didn't even know that one club even existed.
What one club?
What was it? Bocce ball. Yeah, I didn't even know that existed.
So you would be interested are you attending philosophy club?
No, not right now. I might join it though sometime.
Okay. Sanaya, what club would you be interested in?
Me personally, I've never been like in the clubs. I was more of like athletic side, but if I was to do a club, I'd probably say HBCU just to get the experience and get shown to different types of colleges that I may attend in the future and stuff like that.
Okay. Yeah.
I've never really been involved in many of the clubs just because they were never really advertised my freshman year and I didn't really know about them. But I think one of the things that is important to me is the philosophy club and recycling club. There's two very good opportunities for students to get more, think about things in like the real world and like get a good gauge for that. And then it's also like, there's something that you do to improve your community, improve your environment that you live in. And so I think both of those things connected would be more helpful for some students who are quiet or who are not involved as much in school.
Sounds like to me that you and William should spearhead the philosophy club.
Right.
And bring it together, get it organized, and go out and recruit members.
Right.
And I don't know why you're waiting until spring to do the drama club. What's going on in the fall?
Be honest with you, they just like didn't do a show that I wanted to do.
Pardon?
So, they didn't do a show that I wanted to do, or else I would have. They did The Ugly Duckling, and that's just not my thing. Well, I'm gonna go see it. I'm gonna go support.
Okay. Well,
Not gonna be in it.
I'm just, if your goal is to get more clubs going,
You gotta,
how are you gonna do that? If the four of you aren't involved?
that's right.
Well, not to talk again. I'm sure I'm boring your ears off.
Please, I'm curious.
But a good way for us to do that is, as you said, join those clubs. And most of us are invested in those clubs. I know a bunch of kids that are invested in those clubs, not just the four of us. I feel like we weren't the greatest examples, but there are a bunch of people that are very passionate about, like, recycling club. There are so many kids that are passionate about recycling club. Mr. Kidd is so good at running that program. I mean, they would let people know what to put in there, and that was taught very well out of them. And I feel like there needs to be a lot more involvement, not just with the students, because yes, students have a lot of power in what they do and who they recruit, but teachers and faculty also need to understand that they also should be promoting the clubs that they want us to join.
So if you guys, and this is one of your goals, your goal is to drive club membership and participation. It's, you're the leadership group, and you guys would work with faculty and say, okay, what's our core group of clubs? I mean, you're going to be promoting this October 29th. What are they? What do we have out there right now that has a single member in it? And then build off of that. But ultimately, that's going to be driven by grassroots. That's going to be driven by students who show an interest. And I guarantee you that if you have students who are interested, you will have faculty who will respond. I guarantee it. And I also guarantee that if you have students and faculty who respond, you'll find support from this board. So please move it forward. On the water fountains, I know Dr. K texted me last Friday on that issue, and I know that's being addressed.
Mm-hmm.
The library, we will follow up on.
They have that posted.
That's posted?
Mhm.
Okay. That's essential. Understand that. I agree with it. Help me out. Go back to your list again.
Yes.
So the restrooms, my understanding, Paul was there and did some work Friday, thought he made some progress and had some other things he was looking into. If you guys still find that the water fountains are going crazy in the bathrooms, make sure you let me know, okay?
Yeah, and anytime-
Actually, let Julie know, and she'll make sure she
and
talks with
anytime
Paul.
You see something at your school, and it is your school, anytime you see something in the physical plant that draws your attention as needing attention, don't hesitate to bring that to the attention of Ms. Snyder, Mr. Walker. It'll get to Dr. K. We appreciate it. I was, my question back to Leanne is, why are we just now hearing about this concerning water fountains? Absolutely. If there's something not working, we need our water fountains working. We need our bathrooms working. The recycling, I applaud. That's, yeah, keep pushing that forward and let us know if you need help with that. The cat cave, let us know where you're at, Mr. Walker, finding adequate space there, supervision, and if you, what you would think would be helpful to making that space more beneficial. So when can we hear from you again?
I think it's scheduled in the
Okay, well, if you want to come back before then, let us know. And William, if you want to join Mr. Williams, is he still over there? Or if you want to join the Northside Middle School Push-Up Club, we'll get you a pizza too. So you could start the high school version of the push-up club while you're doing philosophy. Right? You can think about it. You can think about the push-up. Philosophy class. Anything further? Anything else you want from us, need from us, want to talk about? Anything at all?
Nothing that was written on the thing, but there have been, I just want to bring this out here, topic of discussion for you guys, not necessarily, there's a topic of discussion for you guys to talk about. I think some of us, in light of the recent events that have happened at school, have realized that, maybe we need more safety. And I realize that is an issue with money and fundraising and funding and stuff like that. But I do believe, and I've talked to several other people at my school, and we've said that maybe we need metal detectors, maybe we need more security officers or something like that. And I think that's something for you guys to discuss because we haven't necessarily thought through all of the things like that. And it's more of a school board issue. I think more of a students
Yeah, no, I mean, I think you're right. And we are actively talking about the issue of periodic bonding of students. Now, obviously that has its own set of issues.
Yes.
But clearly when we're looking at the events of the past few days, obviously that's on all of our minds.
Yeah.
And that discussion is occurring actively. So, but thank you for expressing it to us right now. And please understand that we are actively talking about it. I know Dr. K is just talking with Robert Scaife about it. So we'll keep working it forward.
We welcome reviews too. You guys are living it, you're in it.
We want you to be safe. We do. We want you safe.
And when we talk about the cat cave, I'll be 57 years old here shortly. Mr. Heater's a little older, but the world's different than it was in 1980.
Yes, it was.
1981.
Yep.
I get that. You guys have challenges that we didn't have, and certainly the world has evolved in the last 3 years, have really been miserable in many ways. So, I was asking questions and probing you about the clubs, not in jest. This is your world. It is what you make it. And we are counting on you. We need you. We need you. I don't know how else to say that. We need for you to be engaged and to drive the discussion. If you have things you want to do, if you have clubs you want to drive, if you have things you want to occur academically, athletically, socially in your school, drive those. You will have our support. Okay? That's within reason, please. If there are things you don't like, work to change them. John Lewis talked about getting in good trouble.
Good trouble.
Yep.
Get in some good trouble. All right?
Thank you.
So if you get in good trouble, say, Mr. Williams said.
I hear you loud and clear.
Good trouble. If you don't know what that means, go read about John Lewis while you're doing push-ups and thinking about it. Okay.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Always really enjoy hearing from students. It's the best part of what we do. Dr. K, with all due respect to you.
Yeah, okay, now it's my turn. Here we go. It's an exciting week. It's homecoming week at the high school. Thursday, there will be a community pep rally at the football stadium beginning at 6 o'clock. A parade on Friday beginning at 4:30. If any of you would like to be part of that parade, Chris Walker has a truck that's going to be decorated, and we are welcome to join him in his truck. So if you would like to join, be at the high school at 4 o'clock to load up into that truck. We also, then Muncie Central will take on Marion that evening for our football game. We are proud the team won last week, and we are hoping for another win this coming up week. Last week, I had an opportunity to be with the George and Francis Ball Foundation at a Strive Together convening. So that's focused on cradle to career work, which is something that we are really investing in this community, because we know, as we've said multiple times, schools can't do it alone. We're better together, and we like to work with our community partners and our families. And so we really had some good takeaways from that convening, and we'll continue working with our CANs, which are focused around kindergarten readiness, third grade reading, middle grade math, high school graduation, and post-secondary success. So we'll be sharing more of those ideas with those groups. We do know that this week we had an unfortunate event with having a weapon in the locker at the high school. But I really, at this time, want to commend our SSOs, our administrative team, and Muncie Police Department. Our officers have been well-trained, and when the police officers are needed, they are there. And the way that everything turned out is the way it was designed. So we feel very fortunate of that. We do know, we always are looking at ways to improve safety and security in our schools, but I really do need to commend the people that were involved for doing what they were supposed to do. We also, at Northview today, we had a water main break in the elementary school. No water, so you have to send kids home. They can't be in school without water. They worked to get a part of the pipe fixed, turned it back on, and that pipe broke again. So they had to go further down. They're working on that right now, but I received a text message that it does not look very hopeful that that's going to be our solution. We'll know in the next couple hours. If it's a solution, we'll be back tomorrow with students. If not, they're going to have to replace the entire line, which that could take the rest of the week to get that fixed. So we'll make sure that we have students get their devices and participate in e-learning just at Northview if that's the case. So we'll be working closely with Principal Allen and our families to let them know what's going on. I really also have to commend Auxilio today. One of the fears when you release early, especially with elementary students, is you want to make sure that there's somebody waiting for them at home. And so our buses, instead of dropping off at different locations, they did door to door. They made sure that when a student got off the bus, that they got into the house before they pulled to their next stop. And so that went really well. So I'm very fortunate that they were willing to do that for us to make sure all kids were safe at home. Today and tomorrow in the afternoons, we have in some evenings, we have parent-teacher conferences taking place at all of our schools. We believe that's extremely important for parents to be able to hear and talk to teachers and together talk about how students are doing and ways if they need some additional resources, how we can better serve them. And our enrollment, the final count is due tomorrow. This year, according to today's number, we're at 4,861 students, a little bit less than we were last year. We still feel like we're stabilizing. We aren't losing hundreds of students. And with the pandemic and lots of students making different choices, we're happy to see our enrollment numbers where they are. So that number could go up. I'm told it shouldn't go down, but it still may be able to go up a little bit. So that's it for me. Any questions?
Any questions for Dr. Kay?
I just gotta shout out just one homecoming princess, sophomore princess. She's just like, she does 2 years in a row, I add, so let's keep going. She's totally the opposite of me, y'all can see that.
And congratulations on being a sophomore princess. I'm sure you will look gorgeous tomorrow night or Friday night, as you do every day.
Any additional questions for Dr. Kay? Okay, we're on to the consent agenda. We have items in the consent agenda, items 5.01 to 5.07. Any questions regarding those items? If not, would entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Need a second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay. On to item 6, Mr. Jerome.
Thank you. We have with us tonight Mr. Ron Fisher from Schmitz & Associates Architects from Indianapolis. The school board had approved our project for renovations at the football stadium, track, soccer field, track design, clear back in the month of April. And wanted to bring Ron Fisher back as we have some designs to put in front of the school board tonight. His staff has worked diligently to come up with specs, designs, different ideas, what to do at our locations right there. We have had a team of administrators, coaches, athletic director. I know myself was on some of those trips as we visited other schools, other locations. And so we tried to put our best foot forward and come up with what we thought were some of the best examples we could tonight to show the school board what you have come up with. So we are in the process of finalizing all those designs as we get ready to sell bonds for this particular project next month. So I'll turn the floor over to Mr. Ron Fisher.
Thank you, Mr. Jerome. It's a pleasure to be here, share this project with you. And you have, I believe, a packet and a handout in front of you that you can kind of follow. You have on the first page a summary of the scope of the work, kind of the items of work. I'll cover that as I go through these drawings. The first image is a composite of really the Muncie's Central Campus. And this is really looking out several years in the future, which also includes the current schematic vision of the new YMCA, which is item 3 there on the drawing. So I'm going to go first through the different phases and explain that. If we start with item 1, and that's really what we're talking about tonight in terms of approval of design, is this first phase. And it's affectionately known, I think, by the financial consultants as Bond 2022 project. And so it entails the demolition of the current home grandstand, of the track, and the field. We will also be removing the sports lighting. And then in its place, we'll be creating a new grading going on for the field. There'll be a new all-weather track, constructed 8-lane all-weather track. It will be in a, we call it normal configuration. The current configuration of that track, you probably aware, is it kind of has a nickname we've heard, the paperclip, because it's a bit thin. And it's not your normal configuration of track. This will be a standard configuration track, and then it'll have a all-weather, artificial turf field, and the field will be set up and lined for both football and soccer. It will also provide the appropriate sidelines by reconfiguring the track. Gives a wider space in the field, so the teams can be standing on the field, not on the track, during a football game. We'll then construct a new grandstand, home grandstand, that would seat 1,500 students, or students and people as well. And I'll cover some details of that in a second. And then also we'll be in this first phase of construction on the south end of a separate concession, restroom, ticket building. Okay. So that really, and then there'll be new LED type of field lighting that would be also installed for the field. So that would really entail what is this first phase of work. That phase is planned to be starting construction. Actually, the bids, if you approve tonight, then bids would be received and back before you in your November 15th board meeting for approval of the construction bids and authorization then for contractors to start ordering equipment and different things like that. Our greatest lead time item we already know is the grandstand. The idea would be this first phase would be put in place and ready for football season next year. So, the second phase, again affectionately known by the financial people, is bond issue 2023. And that entails the north end of the field, which would be a second concessions, restroom, ticket building, and then also an end zone building on that north end, which would have locker rooms. In the football situation, it would be a home and a visitor situation, but then the visitor locker room would be an all-season locker, so other sports, track, and those would be able to use those locker facilities. There would be a training room in there. There'd be an officials room and coaches room and storage as part of that north end building. One of the things we see more effectively in this, the concept here, both with the restroom concession buildings and this north end building, is constructing these as a separate building, not trying to construct occupied spaces under a grandstand. That's very expensive, and it also leads to a lot of failure with leaking and things like that. So this is what you see happening in most high school, particularly high school facilities around the state. Also involved in the second phase is the field house itself. Would have a new electrical system installed. That's very much needed to replace the original system, but also it's needed to increase its capacity so that air conditioning could be added to the field house. And that would also be a new air conditioning and heating and cooling and ventilation system. By doing that, then we take that old steam system offline. That will allow in a future phase to remove the boiler building that's out there as well. Okay? So that's part of the second phase. There you see what would, I think the timing as we understand it of the construction, as that second phase is starting construction, they'll be starting construction for the YMCA, Muncie Y as well, which is item 3. The fourth piece would be then the reconfiguration of the parking lot and also the kind of call the south-west entry drive and really the trailhead area in that zone as well. I mentioned removing the boiler house. That's going to be very much needed for more parking because the Y will take parking spaces. That lot needs to be reconfigured. And it's a pretty inefficient lot with the drive lanes and things like that that are going into it. We will also, and go back a second to the first piece, as part of that work, because we are widening the field or track configuration, we're expanding to the east. And so the current drive that comes across, we will be removing. We're building across that drive at that point there. So again, new configuration. There will be access points that will be created at the north end here, and we retain the access point on the south end as well.
And we did not push into the west.
We did not. You're into a floodplain here. We would be into Army Corps issues. We don't want to go there. Also, that there's a retaining wall. This aluminum grandstand is in good shape. There'd be no reason to disturb that at cost in front of it.
And we actually get to reuse the insurance bought, paid for LED scoreboard.
Yes, yes, well, it will be relocated, it needs to be relocated as the field is reconfigured and the track, but we're gonna reuse the scoreboard, yes. So there's a kind of a blow-up view of the field and its configuration, the turf, the striping that's, you see the Bearcat, and then the buildings here, and then the new grandstand. There'd be a fencing across here, and then a large kind of walk area inside here. The way that the grandstand works is you will have, well, first of all, it's a big section here. The grade drops as you go from the parking lot down to the field, and that will remain. It's about a 4 foot drop here. So the grandstand kind of works with that grade. What happens here is that we really, by doing that and the reconfiguration of that, we're able to really at the grade level come in almost, there's a slight ramp for ADA access, but it's almost even to this front walkway area here. So instead of the ramp systems or stairs, it would be a very easy pathway in, and that would happen on each end. And also there's a lavatory entrance in these 2 points here. So all the pedestrian traffic happens from the back, and then you load in from the back side. And then there's a front walkway with accessible seating along that front area. You set up about 3.5 feet above the track surface, just here, so that you have good sight line across the bench and that sort of thing.
Because right now, if you sit on the first row, of the stadium, you're actually almost below where the players are standing.
Right, this is elevated. And again, all this is really not to do standards. Even the distance of this distance here where the track is, IHSSA standards minimum of 3 feet here from this point to the first lane track. So everything will be built to current standards. There's a view of a rendering, what this is starting to look like. Here, one of the things we think has a nice opportunity, we see this lot with, there'll be a, like I mentioned, a 6 foot chain link fence, but using those type of mesh coverings that you can do logos, or at times they'll change that out, team players, or whatever it may be, across this edge there. I didn't mention that there is a press box area. In fact, let me go back a second on that. So this press box has a walk-up point here. There's actually a two-tier level into that press box, and then it's separated for the press and then the 2 teams as well. And then there's a filming platform on top. You do get into limitations on the size of the press box and square footage, because if it goes over 500 square feet in this area, then it has to become accessible and you have to add an elevator. So there is a magic point on a press box like that. The concession building, I mentioned there would be one on each end, and so you would have a gateway here, and there'll be a kind of a pillared entry point gate. There'll be a ticketing booth here, and it's set up so they can actually work out of a window, or depending on their situation, they have a go right here. They can set up tables however they want to work. It's a gate point here. This is just a support utility room. Concessions here with a concession window which looks out to the field, and then you have the restrooms and a family restroom which are accessible on this side.
So those restrooms.
I know there was a question, I think Mr. Lowe had about, and talking to Mr. Rome about maybe some berming and that sort of thing. The concession here, there is a paved area, about 15 foot of concrete in front of the concession here. Anybody standing here can look out on the field, but then because of the grade, it berms down. And actually, there's a zone right here, and the same over here, where you actually could have a seating berm if you wanted. So on each end, as a lawn berm, you could have that. Which would be kind of a nice nice option. Say the family wanted to come throw a blanket down and you'd be right there by the restrooms and the concession area at each.
Will the restrooms be sized? I mean, will there just be one set of restrooms or is there one on each end?
One on each end.
Okay.
Now, in the first year, in the phasing, there will only be one.
Right.
This construction happens in the other second year. So, there are variances that can be sought in terms of the numbers and seats and that sort of thing. If need be, in that situation, you can always make available restrooms in the field houses as a backup. But actually the concession, little block concession building on this end is going to be taken down. And then there'll be a new walkway around this point. So this would serve for visitors and animal, both sides. The pavilion that sits over here, the shelter, that all stays. There's nothing being disrupted in this end of the facility.
What's the seating for the visitor side?
It's about 750. So it'll be about half the whole site. And this grandstand's in good shape. And this will be an aluminum grandstand.
So the existing grandstand on the visitor side is staying?
Yes. Yeah, no change to that grandstand.
And the only scheduled hiccup we would have, obviously, is building in the winter and the spring, would not be able to have track at Lincoln Central next spring, in 2023. So the principal and the athletic director had been working with Ball State as some potential options. Also, on our back pocket, obviously, went to South Side. Their number one option was seeing if they could get Ball State.
And I believe I've worked myself through yes. Any questions?
So we are looking at phase one in 2023, correct?
Correct.
The phase one, the construction would be in 2023.
Phase
And then
two.
Phase two, how would you call that, Ron? We would do that almost at the same time.
Phase two construction would really run the year after that. So it virtually 1 year cycle from that and be about the same thing, about a year. Now, some of that we'll have to look at the timing, the sequence of work in that field house could be different than the construction year.
That's the boiler, correct, is phase two?
Yes, and what's key there, the first piece is the electrical. We have to get the new electrical before we can energize the new HVAC equipment.
We dealt with the boiler along for another year.
We'll have to.
So would you work with those other contractors? Say the YM is in that phase. Would you coordinate the construction if you all are working?
Most
So just kind of work with them.
Yes.
And then isn't there going to do some redevelopment around the traffic light? Isn't there something with the city that they talked?
The other side of Walnut Street.
Yep, Columbus Avenue.
But even at the light and some redevelopment around that entire
Yeah.
space?
That could be, I mean, you had mentioned that.
Just curious.
What's that?
You talking about here?
On the north side,
On the north side.
by the water.
So
Right there.
Where the traffic light is right there. Because the one thing we had not explored, and you don't see it in this picture or this rendering, is that we did have to explore the whole issue of more parking spaces.
Yeah.
Because I know Jim Lowe had counted the number of parking spaces we might lose if the YMCA really did put their building right there, because we might be losing 50 to 70 spaces. Because we might have to explore, we could explore the green space along Walnut Street, right to the north, right there, right along there. Right, some could be repurposed there, but just we're not going to explore anything back to the west. That was just being avoided.
Yeah.
To not deal with the levee, the water, the drainage, and all that stuff.
Right.
So one of the other things, so the safety of the students, I know that I've met with you and we talked about that safety parameter for students, faculty, as you all are constructed. So what does that look like? What are some of the things that you would do to ensure that our students are safe? Because I know a lot of them take that thoroughfare going back and forth to bus stations and downtown.
Back to the.
Oh, you mean by not having to drive?
Just not having to drive and just
Drive, but
with
still
construction
have a-
stuff being set up, kids just do kid
Right, you
things,
still
so.
have a walkway, you still have a
Yes,
sidewalk.
so first thing we did during construction, basically there'd be construction fencing that would be set up around the entire zone area and zone that off. That they would then reroute some of that. You could still temporarily retain some of the drive point, but there'll be a point or and the construction manager or is involved on this CM. They would be determining at what point you can start to cut off access points. I would say they might do that fairly early because we're gonna have to create a staging area for construction. And so they'll determine the best points of that. But as you do that, probably what's gonna start to happen is you'll rely less on a drive this zone coming into the slot off of the street here rather than relying on this drive. And then starting to secure with fencing, barricades, the access points now.
Thank you.
Any additional questions?
Hey, I just told you Lo had Army with all of his things, but you answer most of them, so I can just go back and say.
Do you need anything from us at this point?
Well,
Yeah, at this point, we're just asking the school board permission to go forward with this final design as he presented to you tonight.
And Natasha, you had talked to Jim, and Jim was satisfied with this design.
Yes,
Okay.
he is.
It-
Was Jeff a part of this conversation?
Oh, yes.
with you guys?
yeah,
When we did the road trips, we had the football coach with us. It was the first week of August. We were not in school. We road trip to Lawrence North, Noblesville, Delta, and some people had made other trips on their own because you had other examples also. And this really, it's not like Lawrence North or Lawrence Central, which you guys had a great job there, and it's not as big as Noblesville, but it fits Muncie Central.
Okay.
Oh, it's gonna be a fabulous facility.
So have you done stadiums? So can you, are the ones that we're talking, are those some of the ones that you
Yes.
all had?
Yeah.
Lawrence
Central, we're currently involved at North
Yeah, Lawrence Central.
we work.
They had a cement stadium they tore down and put the track up with the bleachers. They did not replace it with the cement stadium. They put the steel and aluminum structure.
Right.
And they have the restroom buildings on the ends. And we got to, and the beauty of it for the coaches or the football coach, we got to see multiple athletic fields, multiple turf fields between their practice fields. We probably saw 4 different versions of athletic synthetic turf that day. Way more than we knew was possible, so.
6-lane track, 8-lane track?
8-lane.
8-lane.
All weather.
Any objections from any of the folks that you've consulted regarding this design? Latasha or Brett? Any of our folks have any problems with it?
No, none whatsoever.
Okay. Would entertain then, first of all, is there any further discussion?
I just have a thought that since this is such a publicly used space, maybe we should table our vote so that this can be viewed by the public before we vote on it. Just a thought.
I don't know, I think we need to keep it moving forward.
I mean, I know we're constrained by time.
Yeah.
So you know better.
They're scheduled to sell bonds October 19th.
We need to move forward.
I think the way the timing of the board meetings were, this was, this allows us to sell bonds and have a spec and design that's, especially the way we're doing this in phases. I mean, so this probably helps that we're really just doing the first phase. So it's the field, the stadium, one section of restrooms, so you have possibility for adjustments on the other phases. Yeah, right. Right.
Yeah, it was posted and we don't have anybody here. So nobody signed up to talk. You didn't sign up to talk.
Say,
Uh,
public input.
So we will proceed at this point then, would entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second? Second. All those in favor signify by aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Okay, show it passes. We are on to dialogue of the board. At this point, I do want to recognize Don Wafer, who's retiring at Central High School after 37 years. So, Mark, do you remember Mr. Wafer?
I actually remember Don well and knew him well in school at Ball State. And really good guy, well thought of, highly respected. He'll be missed.
Dave, any memories of him? 37 years. It's not your time, right? So we wish him well. Eldred Coleman Jones has been hired as behavior coach at Grissom, right?
Yes, we're excited.
So that's Kenny's mom, right?
That's right.
So welcome Eldred and all those others who have joined us. That's a great addition to Grissom. So,
You know, Jim, one comment about Eldred. Eldred was my legal assistant for over 20 years and was phenomenal and
Yeah,
great
she
with
is.
kids. And that's a tremendous hire. That's a tremendous hire.
We have our next radio ad going out, and she is going to be one that is going to be featured, saying a few things about Muncie Community Schools and what it's meant for her and her family. So we're excited about that.
Just, right, just having them at that, that's great. It's great. Good stuff.
so
I have one more thing to add, if I might. And I failed to mention that Jim was recognized at Wabash College this past weekend for being the Distinguished Civic Service Award recipient. And we know how much Jim does for all of us and how that was such a well-deserved recognition. So congratulations.
Congratulations.
any media questions?
Yeah, Rick Jester, Muncie 150. Are there going to be any provisions made to use local suppliers, local labor on this project? It's come to our attention that these housing projects, they don't use local labor or even local suppliers like now.
They'll be subject to bidding under state statute,
I know.
and the school board is obligated to follow the bidding statutes as set forth in the Indiana Code. So if our local suppliers and local labor are part of that bidding process, obviously they will receive consideration, and bids will be awarded as commanded by the legislature as set forth in Indiana statute. Any additional questions?
Enrollment, you said it was slightly down. How much slightly?
We were 49.26 last year. We were 48.61 today. That includes a reduction. As of count day, we were closer to 49.16. It was much closer. There were approximately 50 students who, pandemic and otherwise related, that cannot be located, so the state is not permitting us to count them. We show them as on our rolls, but they've not appeared in school, which is a nationwide issue in terms of students post-pandemic who appear on district rolls but are not attending school. So we're down 63, I think.
And that's not an official count yet. I mean, we're still reconciling.
Still in the resolution
Yes.
period. So,
And to clarify something the Student Advisory Council said, there's no functioning library at Central.
there's a functioning library, it's just not staffed.
It's not staffed.
Yeah. We are, like, again, many other entities across the country, the labor crisis has not left Muncie Community Schools untouched. I would say, for the benefit of those watching this evening, we continue to have openings, not many, but we have some openings, as well as we have needs for substitutes on a daily basis. And that includes, even after having adjusted the compensation upwards. So it is, again, a challenge that is nationwide, that has not left Muncie Community Schools untouched, and that's unfortunate.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any additional media inquiry? With that, would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Been moved, and why don't we call Mr. Irvins the second? All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, thank you. Have a nice evening.